Welcome back. All right, so 7 games tonight in the NHL due to the matinee game earlier today. The review for that is already on the channel, or recap, however you want to look at it. And tomorrow it's 11 games. It was going to be 13. 2 games have been postponed due to some really, really rough weather. And where I am is included in that rough weather. There's the possibility that at some point tomorrow power might be out where I am because we got freezing rain coming in after having a ton of snow. There is that possibility. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm really hoping we don't have an interruption to our power. But with ice storms, that absolutely can happen. So it depends on how long the freezing rain is and all that fun stuff. So let's start things off looking at the Carolina Hurricanes and the Pittsburgh Penguins. These teams are very close to one another. This is a really, really good matchup. So it was Ronta versus Jari in this one. The early jump is for the Penguins. The Canes press. They can't get to the net. At 5.5 minutes, the Penguins had the only shot on net. So it was very tight checking. Both teams getting zone time, not getting those shots on net. Penguins are keeping the Canes at 0 shots for a while. Around the halfway mark, the Canes finally get a couple of shots. So they test Jari at that point. Blueger couldn't bury one in close. The Penguins get a power play with 3 minutes and 11 seconds left, and they score on it. It's Crosby from Letang and Gensel at 17:28. He buries that one from the side of the net. But 15 seconds later, Carolina answers. Natchez from DeHaan. So while they're still announcing that Pittsburgh goal, Carolina scores to tie it. And it was a backdoor play off of a bounce off the boards. Yeah, it's one of those goals that's just ridiculous. And then Chatfield gets his first of the season at 18 minutes. Kokaniemi with the assist. He fires that one from the point. And suddenly it's 2-1 in favor of Carolina as 3 goals are scored in 32 seconds in this game. 1:28 left. The Canes get a power play. That leads to a shorthanded rush by Pettersson. That chance was held, and we're going into the second period. So second period, the Penguins finish the kill. That was their 15th kill in a row. Canes get a power play. Things are scrummy in front of the benches. That was killed off, so we're up to 16 in a row. I didn't count beyond that. Shots are 3-1 for Carolina at 6 minutes. Natchez is denied and close. Joseph has a rush chance. That's saved. Canes press, that draws them a power play. It becomes 4-on-4. Pesce has a chance to deflect out. Everything gets killed off as Ronta's making some big saves there. Delay game, Penguins go back to the power play. Again, it becomes a 4-on-4. Everything's killed off. Stepan then has a rush chance that's saved with 2:35 left. Another power play for the Canes. There's a shorthanded chance for McGinn. He hits the post, and then he gets a shorthanded goal. 2-on-1, he scores. Blueger with the assist. And Dumoulin with the secondary assist at 19:15. So all of a sudden, it is a 2-2 tie, and it was a nice rebound that was buried by McGinn. So we're going to the third period tied. Penguins press at 1.5 minutes, but no shots on net there. Shots are 4-0 for Carolina at 3.5 minutes. Letang has a shot that's held. Jarvis gets hurt. He ran into the net. Looks like that hurt. He stayed in, though. Canes press at the half. Svechnikov fires one wide. There was a rush by Rust, and he scores. He scores from Pettersson at 12:55. Canes do press to answer, and they get it. It's Jordan Staal. It's a face-off win by Staal, and then he ends up getting the goal. Coughlin and Fast with the assists of 15:34. So we go to overtime. The overtime Canes control early, and the Penguins never get to touch it. Jarvis assists on a goal by Slavin. Brent Burns with the secondary assist at 23 seconds. The Canes go into Pittsburgh, and they win 4-3. They go to 21-6-6 with the overtime loss. The Penguins 19-9-5. The shots 9-8 Pittsburgh in the first, 11-6 Carolina in the second, 16-12 Carolina in the third. In the overtime, Carolina gets the only shot. That's all they needed. Final shots 36-27 in favor of Carolina. Power plays the Canes 0 for 5. Pittsburgh 1 for 3. The hits 38-21 for Pittsburgh. Ronta saves 24 out of 27. Jari saves 32 out of 36. Really good competitive game. I'd love to see these two teams against each other in the playoffs. I think that would be a fun series. Let me know your ideas about that in the comment section below. And now we move on. The New York Islanders in against the New York Rangers. So the Rangers, suffering a setback in their last game. Not so much tonight. So it was Sorokin versus Shesterkin. And I think one important thing is that Shesterkin today gets a win where I don't think he had a great game. But that's the thing. If the Rangers can get those wins when Shesterkin's not having the great games, he'll have those great games to bail him out other nights. So early power play for the Rangers. There's a post for Panarin. The Islanders do clear it out. Kravtsov has a shot saved as it comes to an end. The Rangers press after, but the Islanders end up getting a power play. So it's an offensive zone penalty by the Rangers. That was killed off. No shots. Not bad. The shots overall at that point are 3-0 for the Rangers. Goudreau has a shot that saved. The rebound cleared. And then Lee opens the scoring for the Islanders from Romanov and Dobson at 12:48. Kravtsov then fires one wide. The Rangers go to the power play. Dobson blocks, clears it out, but becomes a 5-on-3 for the Rangers. The 5-on-3 is killed. The 5-on-4 is not. It is Panarin scoring on the power play from Zibanejad and Fox at 17:14. It is 1-1 after the first period. Second period, Barzal would score from Bailey at 2:39. It was a breakaway on a turnover by Kakko. A fantastic goal by Barzal. It's only his 5th of the year, but he gets highlight reel goals when he gets them. But Gauthier would answer from Goudreau at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Rangers then look for the lead. However, at 8:45, one that's deflected in, Romanov scores from Bailey. And what was only the 4th shot of the period for the Islanders, they get their second goal. Rangers get a power play. Zibanejad has a blast that's saved. It was a good power play, but the Islanders do kill it off. Too many Rangers on the ice. The Islanders get a power play. That's killed off. The Islanders would press in the final minute. Going into the third, the Islanders are up 3-2. Third period. Early press by the Rangers. Things get kind of pushy after a hold by Shesterkin. And then Goudreau, it bounced in off of him from Gauthier and Harper at 3 minutes. So Gauthier with 3 points in this one. Goudreau getting a couple points himself. And yeah, things are pretty good at this point. Or no, for Goudreau, that's the 2 points. He has the third down here. I'm getting ahead of myself. Zibanejad draws a power play. The Rangers call a timeout before that. There was a post then for Zibanejad. The puck ends up under Sorokin on that. Doesn't end up going in, however. Fox and Trocheck both had chances that were saved. That's killed off. Hedl then had a sharp angle shot. That was held. 4:53 left. The Rangers get a power play. The Islanders do not let them set up. Trouba fires one high. The Islanders clear it out. And then it's Kakko. Yes, Kakko scores from Miller and Lafreniere at 17:13. Zibanejad then fires one wide on a rush. They pull the goaltender with 1:55 left. We get punching with 1:47 left, because why not? Let's have some punching. It's Rangers and Islanders. It's allowed. And then the empty net is hit by Trocheck from Goudreau and Lindgren at 18:28. So Barclay Goudreau with a few points tonight. The Rangers win this one 5-3. They go to 19-11-5 with the win. The Islanders 18-14-2 with the loss. So the Rangers are tied with the Penguins. The Penguins have the 2 games in hand. Your shots in this one, 9-5 Rangers in the first, 13-8 Rangers in the second, 12-5 Rangers in the third. The final shots, 34-18 for the Rangers. Power plays, the Islanders 0-1, or 0-2, I should say. The Rangers 1-6. The hits were 26-17 for the Islanders. Sorokin saves 29 out of 33. Shesterkin saves 15 out of 18. Feels like it's a big win for the Rangers. We'll see how they follow up on it. But at any rate, good showing. All right, next up. The Capitals in against the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators have tomorrow off because of the game that's been pushed back. So Kemper versus Talbot in this one. Good back and forth early, and then at 4 minutes and 50 seconds, DeBrincat bats one out of the air, and it goes into the net. He gets the goal from Holden and Pinto. Shots are 5-2 for the Capitals at 6.5 minutes. The Capitals would get a power play, and they'd score on it. It's Kuznetsov from Ovechkin and Karlsson at 7:01. Went in off the back of Talbot's skate. Just one of those unlucky ones for the goalie. And that makes it a 1-1 tie. Kastelik then had a wraparound chance that was blocked. Doesn't get there. Gambrell has a rush chance that's kicked aside. Tkachuk draws the Senators' power play. Shabbat has a shot tipped wide. The Caps clear it out. The Caps then get a power play. It becomes 1 minute and 16 seconds of 4-on-4 shortly after that, and everything gets killed off. So after one period, it is 1-1, though the shots and the chances favor the Caps in that period. Second period, Mott's not on the bench. He went down, I believe, was on a shot block and not returning to the game. So I can only assume the video I did today where I praised him probably jinxed, and I apologize to Mott for that. Early edge for the Caps. The Caps press draws them a power play. And is this the power play goal? No, that's the power play goal. This was after it was done. Milano with one that Talbot nearly had from Ovechkin and Orlov at 5:25. So they did kill off the power play. However, the Caps still end up getting the lead. And the shots are 7-1 Washington at 7.5 minutes. At that point, the shots in the game are 19-6 in favor of the Capitals. So the score a little bit flattering to the Senators at that point. So the Senators press at the half. They're kept to the outside. Dowd's denied on a net drive. Tkachuk then had a net drive. Poke check by Jensen on that one. Good move by Jensen there. Caps press with 4 minutes left. DeBrincat couldn't bury on a 2-on-1 chance the Senators get. Puck to the helmet on Van Riemsdyk. He would leave the ice, but at least it hit him in the helmet. So that's the good news. As long as it doesn't hit you directly in the face. From what I saw in the replays, it hit him in the helmet, not directly in the side of the head. So the Sens press with 3 minutes left. Jensen couldn't hit an open net. And after 2 periods, it's 2-1. But it still feels like the Sens are kind of lucky to still be in this. So third period, Senators get a 4-minute power play. Stützle's blast was held. And then during the second 2 minutes of that 4-minute power play, the Sens score. It is Batherson from Tkachuk and Stützle at 3:04. We have a tie game in a game that the Caps have been controlling most of. So the Caps press. Ovechkin has a tip shot that's saved. There was a puck to the throat on Sanderson. This is 2 nights in a row, I'm sure, where we've seen guys get pucks to the throat. Not a good look. I mean, it depends where it hits you in the throat. Just don't get hit in the throat with a puck is my advice. The shots are 8-2 for Ottawa at 6.5 minutes. So Ottawa came out to play in that third period, but the Caps are getting their chances too. Things get pushy after a freeze by Kemper. The Senators go back to the power play. That's killed off. Chabot has a shot that deflects out. There's another power play for the Sens. Trevor Van Riemsdyk pulls a Tkachuk shot right off the line. So he did stay in the game. It's just don't take a puck to the... Or no, it was Sanderson took the puck to the throat, not Van Riemsdyk. I'm thinking something else. So the Senators press with 3 minutes left, but we're going to overtime because the game's tied at 2. In the overtime, Caps controlled it early. Carlson has a blast kicked aside. Stützle's then denied on a rush. The Caps get it back. Batherson had a sharp angle shot that was saved. And then Johansson scores to win it for Washington from Gustafsson, and Kuznetsov at 2:04 scores that one on a rush. Now, the official shots show me that Ottawa only had 1 shot on net. I've got them credited with 2 on my side, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe the shots just weren't updated. Final score is 3-2 in overtime for the Caps. They go to 18-13-4 with the win. The Ottawa Senators dropped to 14-16-3 with the loss. The shots in this one, 12-5 Washington in the first, 15-7 Washington in the second, 12-11 Ottawa in the third, 2-1 Washington in the overtime. Final shots 40-25 in favor of the Capitals. Power plays, Washington 1 for 3, Ottawa 1 for 6. The hits were 30-14 in favor of the Ottawa Senators. Kemper saved 23 out of 25 in his return. He looked good. Talbot saves 37 out of 40. He was good as well, but in the end, a big win for the Capitals as we start to see teams that are in the playoffs start to pull themselves ahead a little bit of some of the teams under, like, for instance, the Ottawa Senators. So the Sens really needed 2 points tonight in regulation. Winnipeg in against Boston. And early on, it looked like my call that maybe Winnipeg could pull this off, that maybe they would. But Boston, man, this team, it's insane. So it's Hellebuck versus Swayman, and on the second shot, the Jets get a goal. And I thought, if Swayman has a rough night tonight, that's going to be upsetting for me because I am a big fan of Swayman. So it was Scheifele with his 20th of the year from Perfetti at 158. Jets, strong forecheck. Dillon then had a shot that was held as the Jets keep up some momentum, although the shots are 3 apiece at 6 minutes. There's a press by the Jets at 7 minutes, and eventually they score. It's Harkins from Morrissey and Lowry at 7 minutes and 20 seconds. It was a tip in front by Jansen Harkins, and that pushes Morrissey's point streak to 11 games. He's a machine at this point. It's a fantastic story. Pasternak's robbed on a breakaway. The Jets get a power play. That's killed off. The Bruins then get a power play. It cycles until Stenlund clears the puck out. That's killed off as well. The Bruins press after. Hellebuck holds. With 2:02 left, the Jets go back to the power play. Dubois has a shot that's caught and held. That power play is killed off. But after the first period, it's 2-0 in favor of the Jets. Very unexpected, but the Jets were full value, I thought, for that lead after one. Second period, Perfetti nearly adds one. The Jets press. Dillon had a rush after the Bruins had some pressure as well. The shots are 3-2 for the Jets at 4.5 minutes. Bruins, though, get a power play. Marchand's denied from the slot. That's cleared out. Krejci passes when he should have shot. He was looking for Pasta there. He should have just pulled the trigger. He was right in the slot, and that's killed off. But then Pastrnak scores with a lucky bounce off the stanchion. So it's one of those things where the puck's going to go around the net. Hellebuck goes out to play it, but it went off a stanchion right out in front of the net. Pasta buries it at 12:08 from Foligno and Grzelcyk. So, you have to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky. Those two things, that phrase is definitely true when it comes to hockey. Bruins look to tie it the next shift. The shots are 13-5 Boston with 7 minutes left. So they've really taken over the second period at this point. They end up getting a power play, as teams that are controlling the period will tend to do, and they score on it. It's DeBrusk from Pasternak and Lindholm at 15 minutes, and it's a tip in front that ties it. Bruins then look for the lead. They go back to the power play. That was killed off, but you could see the Bruins had the momentum. Marchand fires one high on a rush, but after 2 periods, the score's 2-2. Third period. Early press by the Jets. The shots are 3-1 in favor of Winnipeg, 3.5 minutes in. Bruins press at 4.5 minutes. They get more pressure at 9.5 as well, as they were just determined to win this one. Foligno would get a goal to put them into the lead from Coyle and Frederick at 11:08. The Jets, to their credit, they did push back with 6 minutes left. They press again with 3.5 minutes left. Marchand was then denied in close when Boston gets a chance. And there's a near miss for Connor in the closing seconds. But in the end, Boston wins this one 3-2. They go to 26-4-2 on the season, 21-11-1 for the Jets. So the shots in this one, 13-10 Winnipeg in the first, 16-6 Boston in the second, 13-8 Boston in the third. Final shots are 39-27 for the Bruins. Power plays 0-2 for Winnipeg, 1-4 for Boston. Hits 28-20 for Winnipeg. Hellebuck saves 36 out of 39. Swayman saves 25 out of 27. And now I need to change boards. And so we move on to the late games. So Vancouver at home against Seattle. Yeah, there's a lot of goals in this. I don't know what to take out of this. And I've said this before with Canuck games. This is how they win. It's not pretty. It doesn't inspire confidence, but they're wins. So if you're management, they're winning enough that you can tell people we're not doing a full-on rebuild, retool, we're not selling guys. You can say it. I'm not sure that fans are going to be happy, but at any rate, I was Jones versus Martin in this one, and it gets confusing if you're an announcer because it's Spencer Martin and Martin Jones, so you got to watch that. So Burakovsky's denied in close. Geeky has a net feed that's blocked. Shen with a turnover. Geeky's denied there, as the Canucks had a very rough start to this. Sprong has a rush chance that's defended. Gord then had a shot deflect high. It's all Seattle. This is the only game that's on, too, because these ones are 7:30. So I'm getting to see this in all its glory. Near miss then for Dunn. Canucks rush. Wenberg has a turnover chance. That's held. And then McCann, with one from center ice at 7:01, scores from Beniers and Soucy. And that's the 8th in a row for the Canucks, allowing their first goal at home. So that's how it started. The Canucks get their first shot after that at around 8.5 minutes. That's from Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Lazar then had a slot shot that was held. Near miss for Eberle as Seattle presses. Horvat had a rush chance that was held. Canucks get a power play. There's a post for Besser. That's killed off. 4 shots for the Canucks on their power play. Tanev then had a shot that was tipped and held by Martin. And then it's Lane Peterson, who's been pretty good since getting called up from Abbotsford. Scores from Pettersson and Kuzmenko at 17-17. It's a rush, it's a pass, and it's chipped in. Getting Pettersson back in the lineup is huge for the Canucks tonight. Absolutely cannot overstate how important he is. Seattle then presses to close it. It's 1-1 after 1. Second period, Miller has a rush chance that deflects out. Pettersson fires one wide. The Canucks press, but then on a 2-on-1, Bjorkstrand wires one from Schwartz at 3:28. And then 10 seconds later, Sprong. He scores from Larson and Geeky at 3:38. Those are the quickest 2 goals scored in Seattle's admittedly short history as a franchise. And it's against Vancouver, because sure, why not? The Canucks like to get in the record books. So Kuzmenko's denied in close. Then there's a near miss for McCann on a rush. We had a fight between Tanev and Burrows. Burakovsky has a rush chance. That's held. The Canucks press at 7 minutes. And at 8 minutes and 9 seconds, Pettersson scores from Shen and Kuzmenko. So Kuzmenko on the board a couple times. Pettersson already on the board a couple of times. And here we go. That one was tipped in front. Kraken press to answer. There's a new miss for Donato as Seattle presses. But then at 12:29, Wenberg buries a rebound from Bjorkstrand and Borgen. Seattle then gets a power play. That's killed off. And the Canucks really needed a goal at this point in the game. But coming out of the second period, they're down by 2. So that's the only power play for Seattle. There's a positive out of this. The Canucks don't allow a power play goal tonight. So small victories, people. Third period, Kraken press early. Schwartz has a shot that's blocked on a 3-on-2, and 4.5 minutes in, the shots are 4-1 for Seattle. However, Kuzmenko scores from Peterson and Pettersson at 5:13. That's fun to say, isn't it? That's the only line that stayed together. Boudreau mixed up all the other lines. That one stayed together. But then at 6:17 on a turnover, they got to watch those turnovers. Sprong scores from Tanev. Then the Canucks get a power play and they score on it. It's Besser from Pettersson and Hughes at 8:52. Alexiak and Shen were then unfriendly. Alexiak didn't like a hit that was thrown by Shen. He was just finishing his check. Goalie gets pulled with 2:45 left. And the Canucks score 6 on 5. And it's Pettersson from JT Miller at 18:40. That is 5 points for Pettersson for, I believe they said, the 4th time in his career, and he's the first Canuck to ever do that. So, yeah, Pettersson, it's good to have him back in the lineup. That's not bad after having a couple of games off and still not feeling 100% tonight. So, in overtime, Seattle controls early. Beniers has a shot that's saved. The Canucks then go offside when they get the puck. Post then for Miller in a rush. Crossbar for Pettersson. And then there's a post for Hughes. So 2 posts and a crossbar for the Canucks in overtime. Canucks get a power play. That's unsuccessful. We go to a shootout. The last shooter is the winner, and it's Pettersson who gets the winner in the 3rd round. And so the Canucks win this one 6-5 in a shootout. They go to 14, 15, and 12. Seattle 18, 10, and 4. And they frittered away a point tonight. And so we'll see if that costs them later. But the shots in this one are 9 apiece in the first, 14 each in the second. 13-11 Canucks in the third. In the overtime, 2-1 for Seattle. Final shots 37-36 for the Canucks. Power plays, Seattle 0 for 1, Vancouver 1 for 3. The hits were 26-12 for Vancouver. Jones saves 32 out of 37. Martin saves 31 out of 36. That is the 3rd straight home game on this homestand that Martin's allowed 5 goals, but they get the win tonight. So it's not a big a deal when your goalie gets the win. All right, next up, Calgary in against LA, and this was a game that went back and forth. And notice there's a lot of extra time tonight. A lot of teams, I guess, going into the Christmas break. Well, I mean, it's Christmas break coming up, so we might as well play some extra. So it's Vladar versus Copley, and at 2:23 on their first shot, Huberdeau scores from Lucic. It's 5-hole. It's on a breakaway. And yeah, so the Kings are behind 1-0 really quick there. Shots are 1 apiece at 5 minutes. The Kings press at 6 minutes. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, or we thought we would. And then we had a minute and 53 seconds of 4-on-3. But it's a 4-minute penalty on Toffoli. So it starts out for a minute and 53 as 4-on-3, and then it'll become 5-on-4 after that. There's a post for Kopitar. Tanev's shot blocking, because that's all he knows. That's his natural habitat. Fiala has a shot that's held. Good penalty kill by the Flames. There's a post then for Tanev on a 2-on-1 after the kill ends. Chris Tanev does not have a goal yet this year. Shots are 6-1 for the Kings with 5 minutes left, meaning the Flames hadn't had a shot since that goal at 2:23. But then Velarde scores from Walker at 17:41, so that ties the game up. Lazot's then denied in close. The Flames press in the final minute. It's 1-1 after 1. We go to the second period. Moore fires high, and the Flames clear it out. Zadorov then has a shot that's blocked. Too many Flames on the ice, so the Kings get a power play. That's killed off. Good penalty kill there. The shots are 4-3 for the Kings at 7 minutes. Hanifin has a shot that's held. The Flames get a power play. Toffoli ends up hitting the post. Dubé has a shot that's saved. The Kings clear it out. That's killed off. The Kings press with 7 minutes left. Velarde then has a shot that's kicked aside. The Flames clear it out. Momentum for the Kings. Vladar's really saving things late in the period for Calgary. It's 1-1 after 2 as well. And then in the third, things get kind of crazy. At 1:29, Danault from Iafallo. Bam, 2-1. 10 seconds later, so just like this game, there's 2 goals in 10 seconds. Ironically, both games go to extra time as well. Lizotte scores from Velarde and Arvidsson at 1:39. And it was a second opportunity in that the first one didn't get to the net, but Lizotte buries it. So one of those ones that's just craziness in front of the net. No chance for Vladar there. So the one thing about this is that was pointed out in the second period, the Flames were playing kind of a trap style. And I don't understand playing a trap style when it's a 1-1 draw. I don't get it because you're just making sure nobody's getting opportunities, like you're sending one forechecker. I can kind of understand it with the lead, but tied, no. And so the Flames stop trapping and try to answer. The shots are 3-0 for the Kings at 4 minutes. But as soon as the Flames start playing the offense, they got better. They get a power play and they score on it. It's Toffoli, wires it from a distance. Anderson and Ruzicka with the assists at 6:46. Kings nearly answer next shift. Fiala had a penalty shot, missed the net on the penalty shot. Mangiapane then has a chance. It's held. Anderson with a wraparound. That's blocked by Roy. Lindholm's denied as the Flames press to tie. And then Dubé. Hanifin with a wraparound there. And then he gets it to Dubé. Dubé buries it. Lindholm with the other assist at 13:32. The Flames press with 3.5 minutes left. Velarde fires one high on a 2-on-1. But we're going to overtime. The overtime, Calgary's 1-3 in overtime's going into this one. LA's 2-5. Kings control early. Huberdeau loses the handle on one. Kadri's denied on a rush. And then Kempe. He scores on a 2-on-1 from Arvidsson at 3 minutes and 22 seconds. The Kings win this one in overtime 4-3. They go to 19-12-5 with the win. The Kings 15-12-7. So what we've learned going into tomorrow night's game against Anaheim is they're able to beat San Jose. They didn't beat the Kings tonight. They could have. And I really think that if they hadn't been playing this really conservative defense, and I understand why Sutter would have them playing that way, but I don't know that that necessarily suits the team. So the shots in this one are 10-3 LA in the first, 11-6 Calgary in the second, 14 apiece in the third. In the overtime, both teams had 2 shots. LA with the one that matters. Final shots 32-30 for the Kings. Power plays, Calgary 1 for 2, LA 0 for 3. The hits 31-22 for Calgary. Vladar saves 28 out of 32. Copley saves 27 out of 30. And again, for Copley, that's 5 straight starts. I'm going to go ahead and say he's the Kings starter right now. I don't think that's as controversial as it would have been if I'd said that a week ago. All right, and last up, Minnesota in against San Jose, a game that did have a score. Alakazam, there's the score. All right, so Gustafsson versus Reimer in this one, and on their first shot, San Jose is ahead. It's Carlson from Megna and Barabanov at 44 seconds. Sturm would try to answer, and then Eriksson does. Merrill with the assist at 2:20. So this looked like it could be a really high-scoring game early. Meyer then had a net drive that was saved. The Sharks get a power play. Really aggressive penalty kill by the Wild. They do kill that off. Zuccarello then has a shot that saved. The Wild get a power play. It becomes an extended 5-on-3. And this might be one of those turning points in the game. San Jose does kill that off. Their penalty kill is mostly excellent this season. Then Gregor would score. He buries a rebound. Carlson and Benning with the assists at 11:37. So Pettersson with a lot of points. Carlson with a lot of points tonight. If you're a Swedish player, he probably had a pretty good night. So Sharks get a power play. That's killed off. Zuccarello to Boldy. Near miss late in the period, but it's 2-1 San Jose after 1. Second period. Early press by the Sharks. The shots, though, are only 2 apiece at 5 minutes. The Wild get a power play. Good penalty kill. Blocking, clearing by the Sharks. Just your standard San Jose penalty kill. Ferraro has a rush chance that's held then. Middleton loses the handle on one in close. Things get brawly with 8:55 left. No call on that, though. They just let him go and no penalties on that. Kaprizov has a rush chance that deflects out. Shaw tips one wide as the Wild press. And Shaw gets 5 minutes for kneeing. Now, if you go and watch the replay of Mason Shaw with kneeing, you'll see what I'm talking about when I say knee on knee is dumb. It is a terrible idea because you are risking your own knee as well. So it's reviewed, it's decided it's a major, but Shaw got up a lot slower than the guy he hit with the knee on knee. So it is a dangerous play. Early in the 5-minute major, San Jose scores. It's Meyer from Carlson and Bonino at 12:47. Now, the Wild were already short a couple of players. Now they're short another forward. And, yeah, this is problematic for a team that's on the second half of a back-to-back. And now they're down 3-1. The Wild killed the rest, but right after that penalty kill was done, Lindblom scores from Carlson and Meyer at 17:19. So that penalty kill, it allowed 1 goal in 5 minutes, but then right after that second goal gets scored by San Jose. 2 minutes left, the Sharks go back to the power play. It becomes a 4-on-4. During the 4-on-4, Zuccarello scores from Kaprizov and Boldy at 19:54. Now, Boldy does run into the goaltender, but he's pushed into the goaltender by Ferraro, and the referee immediately is pointing at the player, at Ferraro, because he shoved Boldy into the goaltender. As if to tell San Jose's coaching staff, don't even think about challenging this because I saw what happened. And of course, for San Jose, they don't challenge it, which I know the crowd booed on it. But if they challenged it and they're wrong, that means that you're going to be 2 men down to start the third period with 1:19 left in that one power play, and there'd be more time left in the other. It's not worth the risk. So San Jose doesn't challenge it. I don't think it would have been overturned anyways. But with 1:19 left in the power play for the Wild going to the third, you could see they had to score on it. They don't. The Sharks kill it off. The Wild would press after. 6 minutes into the third period, the shots are 5-1 for the Wild. Zuccarello has a shot that's held. The Wild are pressing, and Reimer is just playing really well. Nice bounce back from him after his last game. Sharks were playing some really solid defense, too, with 6 minutes left, not giving the Wild much to look at. Spurgeon fires one high during a press. There's a post for Couture then on a rush. They pull the goaltender with 2:40 left. I, like the announcers, was surprised that he didn't pull him sooner. Dean Evison, not pulling a goalie with 5 minutes left kind of surprised me. 1:11 left. The Sharks get a power play. So Minnesota pulls the goaltender to make it 5-on-5, which means LeBanc gets the power play goal and empty netter wrapped into one at 19:46, which completely ends all hope for Minnesota in this. San Jose goes to 11-18-6 with the 5-2 win. Minnesota drops to 19-12-2, so their winning streak is done, but I think they'll still be happy with their overall play going into the break. The shots, 10 apiece in the first, 11-6 San Jose in the second, 10-4 Minnesota in the third. Final shots, 26-25 for Minnesota. Power plays, the Wild 0-4, San Jose 1-6. The hits, 16-15 San Jose. Gustafsson saves 20 out of 24. Reimer saved 24 out of 26. So there you go. You're all caught up. I apologize for all the pauses, but cats. It's every pause was for cats. But anyways, that's for a whole discussion for another time. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And if you're guessing which cat caused a pause, yes, it ended up being all four. So that's a first. All right. Thanks again for all your support. I will talk to you guys again soon.